You're watching The Ugly Inside? Subscribe below.
Welcome back to TUI Transfer Talk, and in case you've missed some of the reports that have been released today, Claude Puel could be on the verge of becoming Saints' new manager. Now, Nick, what do we make of it?
Well, it's obviously a little bit of a left field choice in the fact that Claude Puel's not the most high profile manager on the list. In England, we tend to judge a manager by his reputation and his how big he is as a character. Whereas Claude Puel is almost unknown. You've got to look back and, Google his exploits over the past few seasons. But, on the continent, they tend in the main to go for managers who are a little bit less flamboyant, a little bit more concentrated on the football and a little less on the headlines and then putting themselves on, punditry on TV shows. So, Claude Puel has got a lot of plus points for him. He's worked at clubs like Monaco, where he's won the league title. He's worked at clubs like Lille, Lyon and Nice, where he's done exactly the job that Saints want him to do. Get teams into the top five and higher, qualify for the Champions League and qualify for the Europa League. He's got this CV. The only thing that you could really say against him, and I don't mean this to sound flippant in this week of Brexit, but he's French and he's only ever played and managed in France, and presumably, and I don't know how good his English would be.
And now there's a lot of similarities there with obviously Puel, and I'm not sure we're pronouncing it right. We could be pronouncing it completely wrong, but there's a lot of similarities between him and Mauricio Pochettino 4 years ago. When he was appointed, he was relatively unknown, and he had only managed in Spain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only real difference there was that, Mauricio Pochettino had obviously come from Argentina, played for Argentina and played for other clubs outside of Spain. But as you say, he'd only managed in Spain. As we know, his English wasn't good, or he was perhaps a little bit better than he was cracking on. But there were a lot of similarities. And, it's not always about personalities, but that's the problem with, I've read some of the comments on social media today, and some people are going in a meltdown, this man hasn't got what it takes and all of that. But, we're looking to do something at Southampton Football Club, and that's not to take on the big boys at their own game, but to take them on at our game.
Puel seems to fit the Southampton mould according to the papers and the reports. He's a manager that is known for bringing through the youth, and actually that policy is obviously something that Southampton want to implement into the club.
It is. I mean, but sometimes, fiction is bigger than fact. I mean, I read something at Southampton on one of the social media where someone said about Harrison Reed. Oh, yeah, well, of course, Mauricio Pochettino gave Harrison Reed, plenty of game time, and Ronald Koeman gave him none. But when you look at the actual facts, I mean, Harrison Reed played 4 times, I think it was, under Mauricio Pochettino. All of it as substitute, and he played 10 minutes. Ronald Koeman in his first season gave him a lot more game time. Even last season, when he played him once as sub, he still gave him more minutes, or the same number of minutes as Pochettino had a couple of years earlier. The problem Saints have got, I don't think Ronald Koeman wasn't putting the youth in it per se. I think the problem was we'd lost a lot of players like Luke Shaw, like Callum Chambers, who would be, under normal circumstances, coming into the through the ranks at age 20, like Target is now. A good youth system would produce a regular first team player once every 3 years, and we've got a lot have come through at an early age. James Ward-Prowse, for instance, this should have been last season, should have been his breakthrough season, yet it was his 4th season in the Premier. So I think there's a lot being made of bringing through the youth, and perhaps Paul would be better, but I don't think it's an issue so far. It's just been we haven't had the quality of youth still at the club.
Now let's just stay with sort of the players for a moment. Then, obviously his French connection. He's played and managed in France for all his playing and managerial career. What do you think he'll bring in a few French players from the league, or the players that he's obviously worked with before?
Well, again, you would think that he would, the fact of the matter, the way we do transfers now, as we've say, bringing in Nathan Redmond, we've got a strategy and we've adopted a European strategy. Again, a lot of people have got their mindset in the traditional British way, which had to stop, because what happened was you bring in a manager, you give him a lot of money to spend, he signs all the players he knows and who he's had before. 2 years later, he gets the sack, and then you repeat the process all over again. What we're doing here is we're bringing in players. We've got a system, and now the manager is part of that system, but he's not the end of it. I would have been surprised if Claude Puel hasn't been talked about Nathan Redmond during the process. But at the end of the day, it's like the European system. The manager comes in to manage his squad and is part of that process. And, he's going to add to that process. But overall, we'll be probably putting more players to him and saying, this is what we picked up through our famed black box, etc., than he'll be bringing to it. But same as Ronald Koeman. Ronald Koeman undoubtedly brought a few names that he had, Jordi Classy, Pella, but the rest of them would have been brought, Sadio Mane would have been discovered through our system.
So let's finally wrap things up then. Nathan Redmond officially signed for the club a couple of days ago. Are we happy with it?
Well, we've been searching for a winger for a long time. I mean, I don't know a great deal about Nathan Redmond apart from the facts and figures. 11 million, I think, is quoted. We've spent the Wanyama money straight away. We haven't hung on to it. It's all about building a squad. We needed a winger. We needed a winger with a bit of pace. I mean, the players we've got that play out wide aren't, in my opinion, and as well as Sadio Mane, they're not out-and-out wingers. They're attackers who can play wide. Redmond's more of a traditional winger. He's young, he fits the profile. Hopefully he'll go on and be worth 20 million, 25 million. And that's the problem we've got, is there's only one reason why we're a feeder club for anyone else, and that's because we're bringing on players. They're good players and people want them. We don't see, when we look at the players like that we had 4 years ago, like your Yoshidas, etc., you don't see players coming into them. You don't see players coming in for Cuckoo Martinez. Some of them are a little bit squad player, sort of clubs coming in for him. It's the way forward. We've got to accept that as supporters. We're not Manchester United. We're not Chelsea. We can't play people with big money. We can't take them on at their own game. So we're taking them on at their game. So we're taking them on at ours, which is working.
Well, there we have it, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the Claude Puel appointment. And also let us know what you think of the Nathan Redmond appointment. Is he good for the Saints? Subscribe for more.